Top 5 morning habits every diabetic should follow. Lower blood sugar. Starting your day with proper hydration represents a fundamental strategy for those living with diabetes. Drinking 1 or 2 glasses of water upon waking significantly contributes to diluting blood glucose, facilitating the renal elimination of excess sugars. This simple practice promotes glycemic stabilization throughout the entire day. Hydration, often underestimated, plays a crucial role in effective diabetes management, as confirmed by numerous clinical studies. To make this habit more enjoyable, you can enhance water with natural elements like cucumber slices, citrus fruits, or fresh herbs, adding flavor and nutrients without added sugars. Proper hydration not only improves glycemic control, but provides numerous additional benefits. It regulates body temperature and blood pressure, eliminates toxins, supports intestinal health, and protects joints. Additionally, it contributes to the balance of sodium, vitamins, minerals, and hormones, particularly relevant for those managing diabetes. During hot weather, when sweating increases, hydration becomes even more important as dehydration can increase blood glucose concentration. Regular water intake dilutes this concentration, optimizing blood sugar levels. Adopting this morning habit sets a positive tone for the day, promoting steady energy, reducing sudden hunger, and improving mental clarity. Furthermore, starting with a glass of water reinforces healthy behavior, prioritizing wellness from the early hours. Hydration therefore represents a fundamental pillar in daily diabetes management, a small gesture with significant impact on overall wellness and metabolic balance. Transforming this practice into an established habit means making a conscious choice toward a healthier and more balanced lifestyle, despite the challenges posed by diabetes. Breakfast. Foundation for stable blood. Sugar breakfast represents a decisive moment for daily glycemic management. Mornings are characterized by greater sensitivity to carbohydrates, so foods consumed during this time significantly influence blood sugar levels throughout the entire day. Favoring a breakfast rich in protein and fiber, but low in carbohydrates, constitutes a winning strategy. Scientific research demonstrates that starting with a low-carbohydrate meal not only stabilizes morning blood sugar, but continues to positively influence levels during subsequent meals. Clinical studies have shown that women with type 2 diabetes exhibit better blood sugar levels when starting the day with a low-carbohydrate breakfast compared to a low-fat one. This underscores how macronutrient quality can be more significant than mere caloric content. Ideal options for a balanced breakfast include vegetable omelets rich in fresh vegetables accompanied by avocado, whole grain toast with nutritious nut butter, Greek yogurt with berries and assorted nuts. These foods provide essential proteins and fiber, promoting satiety and slowing digestion. Studies published in specialized journals confirm that a protein-rich breakfast helps control appetite and maintain stable blood sugar levels, reducing the risk of postprandial spikes. Fiber plays a particularly important role in stabilizing blood glucose, promoting satiety and facilitating glucose management throughout the day. Choosing balanced breakfasts avoids mid-morning energy crashes and predisposes the body to maintain prolonged vitality. Breakfast should be considered an energizing moment of the day. A meal strategically prepared with proteins and fiber not only supports metabolic health, but also improves overall well-being, making diabetes a manageable condition rather than a daily obstacle. Mindful caffeine management. For many people, coffee represents an essential element of the morning routine, a true ritual that marks the beginning of the day. However, for those managing diabetes, a mindful approach to caffeine consumption is essential. Scientific research indicates that consuming more than 250 milligrams of caffeine, equivalent to about 2.5 cups of coffee, can cause temporary blood sugar increases. This phenomenon occurs because caffeine stimulates adrenaline release, causing the liver to release previously stored glucose into the bloodstream, thus raising blood sugar levels. The impact of caffeine varies significantly between healthy individuals and people with type 2 diabetes. While most healthy adults might not notice significant variations in glucose levels, diabetic individuals often experience increases in both blood sugar and insulin levels after consuming caffeinated beverages. This doesn't necessarily mean giving up the pleasure of morning coffee. Moderation and timing represent key factors for mindful consumption. Enjoying the beverage during a complete breakfast can help reduce potential blood sugar spikes. Including protein in the meal slows glucose absorption into the bloodstream, balancing caffeine effects. An innovative solution consists of enriching coffee with protein powder, creating a harmonious blend that offers the comfort of traditional coffee combined with protein benefits. Adding protein not only improves the taste profile, but also attenuates blood sugar spikes, as proteins slow the digestive process and moderate carbohydrate absorption. This simple adjustment can make a substantial difference in glycemic control during morning hours, often characterized by hectic rhythms. Numerous studies published by authoritative institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the American Diabetes Association emphasize the importance of monitoring caffeine intake as an integral component of diabetes management. In conclusion, it's possible to continue enjoying morning coffee by adopting some strategic adjustments, enriching it with protein, and ensuring it's part of a nutritious and balanced breakfast, avoiding consumption on an empty stomach. These small conscious adaptations allow maintaining metabolic control while enjoying daily pleasures. Physical activity as a therapeutic tool. Incorporating physical activity into the morning routine represents an effective strategy for promoting optimal blood sugar levels. Exercise isn't simply a generic healthy practice, but a powerful therapeutic tool in diabetes management. During physical activity, muscles actively use glucose as a primary energy source, effectively reducing blood sugar concentration. This physiological mechanism makes movement a valuable ally for those who must constantly monitor their glucose levels. The good news is that engaging in particularly intense or prolonged workouts isn't necessary to obtain significant benefits. Stretching exercises, yoga sessions, or simply a brisk walk can bring tangible improvements in metabolic control. Clinical studies show that moderate intensity physical activity practiced immediately after meals can significantly reduce postprandial blood sugar levels, making morning movement a particularly advantageous option. Research has shown that diabetic women who dedicate at least 4 hours weekly to moderate to intense physical activity have a 40% lower risk of heart disease, highlighting how regular exercise not only supports cardiac function, but also contributes to glycemic stabilization. There are numerous ways to integrate movement into the morning routine, starting with stretching exercises that gradually awaken muscles, dedicating time to a brief yoga session that stimulates blood circulation while calming the mind, or taking a walk outdoors that revitalizes the senses and activates metabolism. The benefits of regular physical activity extend far beyond mere glycemic control. Exercise helps improve sleep quality, elevate mood, facilitate weight management, enhance memory capacity, and optimize cholesterol levels, all crucial factors for holistic diabetes management. Starting the day with movement also generates a sense of accomplishment and readiness that positively influences subsequent choices. Numerous scientific articles published by authoritative institutions such as the American Diabetes Association and the Mayo Clinic highlight how constant, moderate physical activity represents a fundamental pillar in effective management of diabetes. Ultimately, integrating movement into the morning routine doesn't just improve glycemic management, but comprehensively elevates daily quality of life, providing health, vitality, and renewed confidence in one's ability to manage the condition. Synchronizing eating with biological rhythms. Having dinner earlier, ideally before 7 p.m., can positively influence morning blood sugar levels. This chronobiological strategy, seemingly simple, conceals complex physiological mechanisms particularly relevant for those managing diabetes. Allowing the body at least 2 to 3 hours between the last meal and nighttime rest enables metabolism to effectively process postprandial glucose. Various scientific studies suggest that advancing dinner time can significantly improve overall glycemic control, particularly in subjects at risk for insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. This practice isn't limited to simply changing meal times, but offers digestion a strategic temporal advantage, reducing metabolic load during rest hours. Such synchronization helps align the body's natural circadian rhythms, the internal biological clock, which plays a determining role in metabolism and overall health. Concluding daily activities with a nutritious meal in the early evening hours allows dedicating the rest of the evening to relaxing activities like reading, light practices, or family time. This approach not only promotes better glycemic regulation, but also enhances overall psychophysical well-being. Numerous articles published by authoritative health platforms like the Mayo Clinic emphasize how early dinners significantly reduce the likelihood of late-night snacking, often responsible for unwanted nighttime blood sugar spikes. Additionally, finishing meals earlier allows time for light physical activity, such as a digestive walk, promoting both digestion and metabolic efficiency. By strategically reorganizing meal times, you optimize the body's ability to efficiently process food, favoring morning awakening with more balanced blood sugar levels. This chronobiological adaptation highlights the intimate connection between meal timing and effective diabetes management. Ultimately, having dinner earlier doesn't just control blood sugar, but predisposes the body to restorative sleep and energetic awakening. It represents an apparently minor modification, but with significant benefits in the journey toward a balanced lifestyle, despite the challenges posed by diabetes. Mindful food choices. Animal proteins. In daily diabetes management, conscious selection of protein sources is fundamentally important. Some types of meat, despite their nutritional value, require particular attention for those constantly monitoring their blood sugar levels. Marbled steaks. Balance between taste and health. Marbled steaks, while appreciated for their succulence, have high saturated fat content, visible as white streaks distributed throughout muscle tissue. These saturated fats have been correlated with increased systemic inflammation and can promote insulin resistance, precisely what those managing diabetes seek to avoid. Studies published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology have shown how high consumption of red meat is associated with an increased risk of type 2 diabetes and coronary disease. However, steak lovers can opt for leaner cuts like sirloin, which have less impact on blood sugar levels. Moderation represents the winning strategy. Occasionally indulging in contained portions can satisfy the palate without compromising metabolic goals. Fried fish. The importance of preparation. Fish, intrinsically, constitutes an excellent source of lean protein and essential fatty acids, potentially beneficial in the diabetic diet. However, frying significantly alters this nutritional profile, introducing specific problems. Deep frying drastically increases caloric intake, potentially contributing to weight gain, a factor that can further complicate diabetes management. Additionally, breading or batter used in the frying process introduces carbohydrates that are difficult to quantify, compromising precision in daily carbohydrate counting. Healthier alternatives include baking, grilling, or steaming, which preserve the nutritional qualities of fish without adding harmful fats or superfluous calories. For those still desiring a crispy consistency, experimenting with oven baking with light coatings of whole grain flour or aromatic herbs is possible. Cold cuts. Attention to additives. Cold cuts, although practical and appreciated as a quick protein solution, present several critical issues for those managing diabetes. Their high sodium content can contribute to hypertension, a significant risk factor for cardiovascular complications, particularly relevant in diabetic subjects. Many cold cuts also contain additives like nitrates, chemical compounds potentially interfering with normal insulin production, which could promote insulin resistance over time. Studies published in the Diabetes Care Journal have correlated high consumption of processed meats with an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. For sandwich lovers, healthier alternatives exist. Selecting cold cuts with minimal additives and reduced sodium content, or preparing meat at home, cooking and slicing lean cuts like turkey or chicken breast, thus ensuring complete control over ingredients. Bacon. A pleasure to moderate. Bacon, an appreciated breakfast staple, deserves specific considerations in the diabetic diet. Although it doesn't directly increase blood sugar like carbohydrates, it's characterized by high saturated fat content and additives that can influence metabolic health in the long term. The World Health Organization classifies bacon as a Group 1 carcinogenic food associated with increased cancer risk. Additionally, it can trigger systemic inflammatory responses, particularly problematic as chronic inflammation is known to worsen glycemic control and other chronic conditions. Healthier alternatives include turkey bacon or vegetable variants, characterized by lower saturated fat and sodium content, which can offer a crispy consistency with fewer risks for cardiovascular and metabolic health. Poultry with skin. The importance of preparation. Poultry is generally considered a lean, healthy protein source, but the presence of skin and cooking methods can significantly modify its nutritional profile. Poultry skin contains high concentrations of saturated fats, known to increase systemic inflammation and potentially insulin resistance. Particularly relevant is the cooking method. High-temperature grilling can generate potentially harmful byproducts known as advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which can exacerbate inflammation and complicate diabetic symptoms. The optimal solution consists of selecting skinless poultry cuts and using cooking methods like baking, steaming, or roasting at moderate temperatures, which minimize age formation while preserving the nutritional benefits of white meat. Plant proteins, a nutritious alternative. In the diabetic nutritional landscape, while highlighting the criticalities of some animal protein sources, the beneficial potential of plant proteins emerges strongly. Nuts, seeds, legumes, and beans represent a true nutritional concentrate particularly advantageous for those managing diabetes daily. These foods don't just provide high-quality proteins, but deliver a synergistic complex of vitamins, minerals, and especially fiber, a key element in glycemic management. Fiber plays a fundamental role. It significantly slows glycemic response, giving insulin a wider time interval to perform its regulatory function. This mechanism translates into more stable blood sugar levels with a significant reduction in postprandial spikes. The nutritional profile of these plant protein sources is particularly favorable. With significant protein content and minimal lipid content, they represent an ideal option for those carefully monitoring multiple metabolic parameters. Although they contain carbohydrates, Their high fiber content drastically reduces glycemic impact, slowing absorption and modulating insulin response. Numerous scientific studies, highlighted by the American Diabetes Association, suggest that regular inclusion of plant proteins in the diet positively influences not only glycemic management, but also weight control, a crucial aspect in holistic diabetes management. Integrating these foods into daily eating routines is surprisingly simple and versatile. A handful of nuts or seeds can enrich salads, adding texture and flavor. Legumes can be incorporated into soups and stews, adding substance and nutritional value. Beans and lentils can form the base for countless preparations, ensuring satiety and metabolic stability. Embracing plant proteins doesn't necessarily mean giving up taste or dietary variety. On the contrary, it represents an opportunity to explore new gastronomic combinations, discovering flavors and textures that enrich daily eating experiences while actively supporting health goals. This nutritional approach isn't limited to avoiding potentially problematic foods, but constitutes a proactive choice toward a more balanced and sustainable eating style, capable of positively influencing not only glycemic control, but also numerous other cardiovascular and metabolic health parameters. Integrated strategies for effective diabetes management. Optimal diabetes management requires a multidimensional approach that consciously integrates hydration, balanced nutrition, physical activity, and chronobiological synchronization. These strategies, seemingly simple when considered individually, generate powerful synergies when implemented simultaneously in daily routines. Morning hydration predisposes the body to better glycemic regulation throughout the day. A balanced breakfast, rich in proteins and fiber, provides necessary energy without causing destabilizing blood sugar spikes. Mindful caffeine consumption, preferably paired with proteins, minimizes potential metabolic fluctuations in subsequent hours. Regular physical activity, even moderate, optimizes muscular glucose utilization while synchronizing main meals with natural circadian rhythms, particularly advancing dinner time, favors more efficient digestive and metabolic processes during rest hours. Careful selection of protein sources, favoring plant options or properly prepared lean animal sources, completes this integrated approach, providing essential nutrients without compromising the hard-won glycemic balance. These strategies don't simply represent isolated adjustments, but constitute a coherent system of synergistic practices that, when implemented consistently, gradually transform diabetes management from a series of restrictions to a path of empowerment and overall well-being. Progressive adoption of these habits allows experiencing tangible improvements, not only in clinical parameters, but also in perceived quality of daily life, demonstrating how small, conscious modifications can generate significant transformations in living with a complex chronic condition like diabetes. Ultimately, these integrated strategies represent an investment in present and future health, an active way to reclaim one's well-being despite the metabolic challenges imposed by diabetes. Conclusion: toward a sustainable balance. The journey toward effective diabetes management isn't configured as a defined destination, but as an ongoing process of learning, adaptation, and growing awareness. The outlined strategies, from morning hydration to conscious protein selection, from regular physical activity to meal synchronization, constitute fundamental pieces of a larger mosaic, a holistic approach to health that transcends mere glycemic management. Gradually adopting these practices means undertaking a transformative journey that modifies not only biological parameters, but also the subjective perception of one's condition. Diabetes progressively ceases to be experienced as a limiting disability to become an opportunity for greater connection with the rhythms and needs of one's body. The key to success lies in consistency and personalization. Each individual reacts differently to various proposed strategies, making an attentive experimentation process essential to identify the optimal combination of practices for one's specific metabolic profile. In this journey, knowledge represents a fundamental empowerment tool. Understanding the mechanisms through which certain choices influence one's physiology allows for more conscious and motivated decisions, sustainable in the long term. The ultimate goal isn't absolute perfection in diabetes management, inherently unattainable, but a dynamic and sustainable balance that allows fully enjoying daily life while simultaneously minimizing the condition's impact on present and future health. In this perspective, diabetes can paradoxically become a catalyst for positive transformations, stimulating the adoption of habits that comprehensively improve life quality and promote healthier and more active aging. I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any content, and thanks for watching this video.